Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the tangle Manair from CZT, Iratxe, Unzurrunzaga, Garate. I hope I got that right. I hope I got it close. Okay, this is a cute standalone or freestanding tangle. I mean, you could, I suppose, use it as a fill-in as well. Could also, if you make it, well, you could make it maybe into a reticulum if you make it really large. But I was just thinking of, losing its characteristics. But you know what? I leave that to you to play with. All right, so this starts off with three nested orbs. I'm going to start with the smallest one, aiming for the center, and then aura-ing that one. And I would say start with whichever is comfortable for you. If it's more comfortable for you to start with the largest one, do that. For me, I need to start with the smallest. And then a third one. And I'm going to also say, if you wanted to take it a ring further, go right ahead. All right, after you have done this, then we're going to divide these two sections up, with lines. I'm going to start with the well, it's not the center. That one we're going to like aura and then put a dot, but I'm saving that till the end. So this is what helped me. So I put a straight line, just, picking a center point, in one of those. It doesn't matter. I just like to divide it up if I can, just because it's like my safe place or something. And even at that, I'm not completely comfortable dividing like this section into two. I would probably be more comfortable just dividing it in half again, but then the sections would be too small. So I decide, let's just do it. It usually turns out okay, and because it's Zentangle, if it's not all even, that's perfectly all right. All right, now I decided, well, partly because I wanted to have clearly laid out steps in the step out. And you'll see a link to that in the description section, as well as a link to Iratxe's. I wrote I have a little cheat sheet because I wanted to get it at least close to being right, her name. So anyway, so I decided I'm going to do this ring, and then while I'm at it, and I'm just going to start in the middle. It doesn't matter, if the lines line up. I don't know that you necessarily want it to. It's kind of nice when it overlaps. I'm just not. I started in the middle, and then I'm just drawing lines, making these a little bit larger than these, obviously, because we're in a bigger ring. But again, just not really worrying about anything. Just focusing in on making nice lines. And I'm turning the tile so that, and then drawing the line in the same direction. So as I turn, then hopefully, and it turned out pretty good, the lines then radiate out. And that works pretty well. All right, next step is we're going to do some rounding. So on all of these ends, and we're going on, so starting on this middle ring, we're going to just do the rounding on the outside, like there. So not both sides, obviously, just the outside. And I'm just going to do the rounding for now, and then probably come back and do like this, so that way I've kind of neatened some of the things up. And I noticed that there was it was a little thicker right here. It wasn't just a pen width. So, and honestly, your rounding could be two steps or one step. It could be just to put a big curve line like that right at the top. That works too. Kind of sort of kills two birds, right? With one stone. Yeah, actually, that works really good. And serves the same purpose. Plus, like I said, thickens this up here, which creates a nice little divider for these sections. There we go. And so then where I didn't, you can really see where it's not thick. And what's interesting is to see the difference there. And it looks so much nicer having it thick. And then, if you need to, go around the outside just to neaten things up. That sometimes is a great idea. A lot of times when I'm drawing lines, actually, I think I covered most of them. Oh, and because I was doing these lines from the outside in, all of my overages, because that's what I usually end up doing, I don't pick up the pen in enough time, so it goes over where I want it to be. And we're doing this on the outside too. Now this one maybe it's again up to you. Let's just try it with a big C shape. Yeah, that works still. Sometimes if it's a bigger or a longer distance, it might not work as well, but give it a go. But yeah, redefining, it's just nice, just tidying up sometimes. Although sometimes it's smart to wait till you're finished and then see where you need to tidy up, because sometimes you might just have tidied it already from another stroke or something that you did. Sorry, I get carried away here. Let me move this here. There we go. I usually try to glance at the camera to make sure that you can see the tip of the pen and not just my fat hand. There we go. And so this is such a neat tangle enhancer rounding. And it's one of those. I wish I had started using it earlier because it is rather nice. It, depending on what you want to do, it just has a nice adds a nice finishing touch sometimes. And for this, it creates what looks like petals, but makes it easy to do because all you're doing is straight lines versus, creating, the round shape. This, like I said, just makes it a little bit easier. We like easy. Easy is good. Because then, if easy is good, then we just get to focus on the movement of the pen and can enjoy those the meditative benefits of tangling, because we're not worried about anything. It's just a stroke. It's just a motion. It's a straight line. It's a C shape. That's it. Okay, so this is cute. Last finishing steps, kind of the decorating phase, is just a straight line. And what I'm doing is I'm lifting off my pen. Sometimes I want to do that fast, but you don't have to. It's just start with your pen on, and then as you're drawing it out, just lift it up a little bit. Or if you want to do it fast, kind of a flicking motion. But I usually sometimes it doesn't come out exactly the way I want it. Oh, that one. And too, don't worry about if you have like extra long ones like that one. It just makes it look natural, right? And then the inside, level 2. So that was the outside. We'll do the inside here. And sometimes, just doing a little flicky motion is nice because you get a little curve in there sometimes, which then adds to the look. Now, as I mentioned, this inside, we're just going to aura and just put a little dot. If you have enough room to put, 2 auras, great. Actually, I'm going to make that dot just a little bit bigger. And you can do anything that you want on the inside, just like other things Zentangle. But super cute. It's just really, really neat. And has, I like too that, especially with the rounding, it has a little bit of a boldness to it, where a lot of the other flowery type of tangles sometimes are like what I would call like uh, it's just more liney, so it's more airy looking, which is great. But sometimes having a contrast is rather neat. So, and of course, you could do this any shape or any size that you want. I mentioned you could do it as a fill-in. So that's if you're doing a traditional tangle and you just have your spaces. You could do the outline however it is, and then that would make it a kind of a wonky shape. But you could. I'm gonna just go over because it was bothering me. I'm just gonna There we go. Just going over that center one more time. Just because I felt like it needed it. It's like, this is bold, that one not so much. Oh, and then shading. Let's do some shading. You could just leave it as it is, of course, but why not? I'm just going to put this around the outside. This will turn out neat. I love these kind of, well, I love most all of the tangles. There aren't too many there's a couple that I have on my nemesis list. But it's just, I need to work with them a little bit. Okay, so on the outside here, outside of that center, you could do the outside if you want. And you know what? Maybe I will. We'll see what that looks like. But let's do these first. And then bringing that graphite out just a bit. Oh, maybe I have a different idea. Well, let's wait and see. Until I get all the way around. One step at a time. Look at how that looks brighter than this. It just floors me every time. It's like I know it's going to do it, but it's just still so remarkable. All right, and then let's bring this one out. So I'm almost thinking you could have two options. One is you could, yeah, let's do it. Okay, put graphite on the outside here, on this outside edge. And then, I'm sorry, I'm talking quiet. So we're going to put graphite on the outside edge to create, or a curving effect. And so because I'm working on this small tile, this is a 2-inch by 2-inch bijou tile. I do it on these small tiles because I want it to be a quickie. If I did it on the traditional size, well, we'd be here for a little bit longer. See how that curves it? Oh my gosh. So you could do it on the outside, and then what it would do is it would look like as if these were cut out and placed maybe with a little foam, like layers, if you do the outside. So that's one thing to do, but I think this is much cooler. But it depends on the effect that you're wanting to go with. And if you go a little, play with the level of graphite. If you go a little darker, that adds more of a dramatic effect. I kind of like to go a little lighter first and then decide if it needs to go a little bit darker. Then I don't have graphite remorse later, because that's bad. Because the aim is no erasing. Whatever happens, happens, and we work with it. And that's, to me, that's a fun part of Zentangle. I call it, oh, see, look at that. And I could go a little bit, let's just go a little bit darker. Or wait. No, because even in person, it's a little dark. I mean, it's not so uh, bendy. That's my descriptive word for it. But I would rather do this like in a couple stages, and then versus like, oh. And this one, I'm not necessarily going to bring it out very far. I just want it to blend into the gradient that's already there. Yeah, you can see the difference. And I'm just trying to, blur in the graphite that I put there so we don't have that line. But at the tip, it's darker. And sometimes you just need that little bit more on the tip. Once you spread it out and you've made the gradient, again, sometimes it just needs that. Yeah, that totally needed it. How cool is that? And it's kind of like I did a class recently on Zen buttons, and this does it makes it look like a button almost, doesn't it? So neat. What a little bit of graphite will do. And of course, if you're working on a toned paper, you could add white, a white charcoal pencil or something like right in the center, right in the center of the curve. That will accentuate it, makes it look really, really neat. So super cool. All right. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, uh, click the like button, share it, subscribe to the channel, leave comments. I appreciate any and all of those efforts as it helps the algorithm stuff. And in the description section, I mentioned already links to the step outs, as well as below those, ways to connect with me if you wish. I have a link to my website where you can subscribe to my blog. And on my blog, I don't do as much posting as I probably should. But I do, when I do classes, I will put out the replays when I get all of the information done, and so you will get access to those, and anything else that I post. What else is there? Like I said, links to classes. I do classes almost twice a week. A lot of them are free. I do have a couple that are paid, so that way I can afford to do the free ones. And we also link to our wonderful Facebook community. So if you want to join us in the fun of Zentangle, we would love to have you. So that link is there as well, so you can check us out. And with that, that's it. Thanks so much for watching, and I wish you happy tangling.